have a dinner all together, and then the husband and I would go out bowling while my girlfriend and his wife would be at home having sex.
Yeah.
Welcome to Normalizing Non-Monogamy, the podcast where we interview incredible people from across the entire spectrum of non-monogamy to hear their fascinating stories. We always strive to bring guests on the show who have a healthy and positive approach to non-monogamy.
However, everyone approaches this a little differently, and at its core, our show is about hearing and learning from different experiences and approaches people have. With that in mind, it's important to remember that the views and opinions expressed by our guests do not necessarily represent those of our own.
It's also important to remember that we aren't doctors or therapists and that we produce this show for entertainment purposes only. Please consult a medical professional for anything regarding your health that you might learn about on this show.
We should also let you know that this podcast will hopefully include some explicit language. So, if that kind of thing offends you, you should probably keep listening until it no longer does. If you're under 18, we'd suggest finding a different show or gather up your parents and listen as a family. Enjoy!
Welcome to episode 33. We're Finn and Emma, and today we have yet another exciting interview, this time with a couple, John and Cindy.
Did you know 33 is a palindrome?
Yes.
You're welcome. Anyway, yeah, John and Cindy reached out to us via Twitter. Super awesome conversation. We talk swinging, we talk kink, we talk nudism, and we even hear about a near-death sex experience. Sex.
I was like, sex experience?
Yeah. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
Anyway, real quick, before we jump in, we'll just say, if you like to get tested for STIs, or even more so if you don't like it, give STDcheck.com a try. Use the links on our website or the show notes. It's way easier, way easier. I already said that once. It's our favorite way to get tested.
You're getting tongue-tied. You're getting tongue-tied about...
Oh, you okay?
You're getting tongue-tied about STD testing.
I know, I just get so worked up. So, anyway, give it a try. Get $10 off. And also, what's that place where we meet other people?
Cassidy, if you want to give it a shot, a 30 free, you can get a 3.
Whoa. Oh, yeah, you're right. I am tongue-tied.
Now it's my turn. You can get a free 30-day trial using the link on our website, or a free 90-day trial if you leave us a review on any podcast platform.
So now we're going to try to go do an interview.
Yeah, apparently we can't talk today. Oh, wait. You can find us on our website, normalizingnonmonogamy.com, also on Twitter and Cassie under the screen name NNM Podcast. Okay, now we can go.
Okay.
Well, hi guys. We have two awesome supporters of our podcast that we're interviewing today, and we have John and Cindy, and they reached out to us via our website, and we were hoping that you could start off by telling the listeners a little bit about yourselves and kind of your ages and where you're from, what you're what you do as far as what you're interested in maybe in life, so a little bit to make it a little more personal.
And for us, since we don't know any of the answers to these questions either, we haven't seen the answer sheet.
Right, well, I'm John. I'm 43, and this is my wife, Cindy.
Hi, I'm Cindy. I'm also 43. We're from New England.
Yep. We live up in Maine. Although we're not far, even though we say Maine, we're like only about 50 minutes from Boston.
Right, you're not up near Nova Scotia or anything.
No, exactly. We're down in civilization.
Right.
And and we've been in the lifestyle a very long time. You know, and that's the thing why we wrote out, because we think we're a little bit on the unique side. We sort of like you, we
were high school sweethearts. So
yeah.
That's where we met with school.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. We started dating when we were juniors in high school.
Wow.
And together ever since.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And so at what point did you decide, hey, maybe we'd be interested in exploring outside of our relationship?
Pretty much. Well, we were definitely very sexually active. We probably had sex within the month of dating. and then over the course, of course we were in high school, but over that course I had learned that Cindy was definitely she was always interested in girls. She'd always been interested in women. She viewed herself as bisexual.
But never delved into that, so...
Yeah.
Right.
And this was like back in high school when you were realizing all this. Yeah.
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 And so I happened to have, so I knew that about Cindy, that she was very interested in being with a woman. And I happened to have a really good friend, a female friend. Well, she was a friend of both of ours.
Mm-hmm.
But I had been friends with her since like 4th grade. And so I knew she was bisexual, and she had actually been with a girl before. So, you know.
Hold on, were you orchestrating MFF threesomes in high school?
Huh?
Were you orchestrating FFM threesomes in high school?
Yes.
He was.
Yeah, I was a horny teenager. So,
Yeah, that's impressive, though.
That's some,
like,
that's
hey,
some amazing skills.
Yeah.
So I asked them both. I was like, "Hey, do you want to do this?" And they were like, "Yeah."
It was a graduation present. to
Right,
me.
right, because it actually
From high
happened.
school.
Yeah, it was my graduation present because it would actually happen the summer between high school and college was when we actually had the threesome. Was that so? It was like right after high school graduation.
Okay, I'm not as impressed anymore.
Oh.
Aw.
So yeah, and then we actually played with that girl a number of times throughout that
Yeah,
summer.
we went to college together, John and I,
Yeah.
and she took the bus up and visited us on campus and stayed a weekend here and there, and
Yep.
yeah,
Yep. And
that's
then,
how it all started.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then we did slow down for a while.
Yeah,
Well, and
but then back in when internet was starting to take off, we discovered AOL chat rooms.
Oh yeah.
Because remember, this is the 90s.
Yeah.
We graduated high school in 92. So, we're talking just after 92.
Right.
So,
So you still had to put the disk in the computer to get your 40 free minutes
You're right.
of internet.
Uh-huh.
Floppy disk.
exactly.
Actually,
Yeah.
I had a brother word processor for my assignments back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we met. I met a girl online.
Yep.
That was down in Massachusetts. That I actually took the bus down to go meet, and
Yep.
she came and visited us at college, and that was so. We started out with threesomes,
Yeah.
pretty much.
And then
So-
it was shortly
Well-
after. No,
I
you
was
go
just going to
ahead.
say before we go on to keep going, when you both were doing the threesomes, how did that go? Did you have any jealousy with those, or was it just adding to your relationship?
In the beginning, there was jealousy.
There was
We definitely learned some rules.
what not to do.
Yeah. What not.
Always play together.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we made that a little bit of mistake playing some separately, and then that didn't go too well.
But you
And,
learn to
yeah.
communicate with each other, and you have bumps on the road, and
Yeah.
if something doesn't work, you say, hey, I need a break from this. Let's talk about this. And
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what we did. We realized not playing alone, and we also realized when we were communicating with somebody we play with, it would be best if we communicated together, like not separate conversations
Right.
with people. Just that way that no jealousies did happen.
Right.
Yeah.
And so when you were having those initial interactions on your behalf, Cindy, was there any concern when he brought this up that there was some type of underlying self-serving, like it's not just about helping you explore your bisexuality, it's, hey, I'm going to get the two women?
not really.
No?
I mean, he was, for the most part, he really liked watching me with other women.
Right?
So it was more about he just wanted to see me getting pleasure. But, of course, I was like, well, hey, there's two of us here. So let's all,
Right, because I had actually
Yeah.
offered with that first girl, I had offered that I didn't need to be part of it, or just asked if I could watch.
Right.
Uh-huh.
I think that's a
And
really disarming way to go about it, that you can basically put it out there like, hey, it's not about me, it's about you and letting you explore you. And then if the good fortune comes your way,
right.
that's a
Right.
bonus, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Actually, one of the women down in Boston that you would see, she actually was married, and her husband didn't like her playing with other men.
Right.
So that was actually just Cindy and her. There was no involvement of me or the other husband.
And that was different for us because, we'd go down to go visit the couple, and the men would go out to go bowling,
Yep.
and the women would stay home and play. And I don't know, that was different for us
Yeah,
because
it
he
was-
wasn't involved. So
Right.
it was
It was a little
was
different,
different.
but it was fun. But yeah, we would laugh. Like we'd have a dinner all together, and then the husband and I would go out bowling while my girlfriend and his wife would be at home having sex.
Yeah.
And then later we'd come back and then all hang out and like watch a movie together.
Right.
Yeah.
So
It was
bowling
a
for
little-
you was a euphemism. Like, you feeling like bowling this weekend? And
And then we did finally move on. We're like, we really wanted to interact with like a couple.
a couple.
And again, this is back in the 90s. So I don't know when you guys got, but they were actually magazines. Like you could go like the local adult bookstores. There would be there was a magazine called like New England Swingers.
And you
okay.
put an ad.
Right.
Yeah.
And you'd
Yeah.
actually mail, old snail mail, send like a letter to somebody. But we ended up meeting a really great older couple.
Yeah. They were about 20 years older than us. And
Okay. And
Yeah.
so you guys were in your like early 20s at this point.
early 20s.
Yeah. This was after 96. We graduated in college in 96. So it would have been like
We were
97 in there. Yeah, like
Probably
21.
25, 26. Well,
No, early 20. When we started seeing them, maybe
that's
21.
true. It
like
was over a
21
couple
in
of
there.
years.
But yeah. And
But they were very free love, open.
Great.
They kind of showed us the ropes and
Yeah.
And-
So you met
and
this
they were-
couple through the advertisements then?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's fun.
Yeah. She was a nurse and
He was
Okay.
a school teacher.
school teacher. Yeah.
And they were, like I said, they were like in their at least probably mid 40s.
Yeah.
And but they were great. They really, we met them a few times.
Yeah.
And,
And actually, John and I had gotten pregnant, and they
Oh, yeah.
still met with us while I was carrying, and
Yeah.
that was kind of sexy,
Yeah.
a little different, but it
Yeah.
was sexy.
and so that was our first they were our first full swap.
Yeah.
Couple to play with.
All right. I'm curious on the front of playing while you were pregnant. Did that? I mean, I would imagine. I've never been pregnant myself, but I would imagine that body and self-esteem issues come up.
It does. And
Did playing
I have a-
during that time help, like alleviate those?
I was super horny when I was pregnant, so having other people to play with, that definitely helped give John a break.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, she was very, because we're both, like, Cindy's always been very horny anyway. So when she was pregnant, she was like,
my hormones
super
were
horny.
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that was around actually and we're jumping, because after we started playing with that couple, we did branch out and start going to parties, like house parties.
Mhm.
And that's really since then. So that was like the late 90s. And ever since then, our big thing has always been house parties. Like we love house parties. That's what we go to. There's a ton of them in the area. And we go out to those. So we had actually at that point started going to house parties too. And we still were seeing this other couple though.
Right.
And Cindy got pregnant and
Took a break for a while.
yeah, we did take a break. Once you really, really got,
Right.
when it was close to time for our son to get due, then things did drop off.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
for like probably at least the first year after our son was born, we didn't really.
Didn't do much.
No, it was all about the kid.
Yeah. There's a slight adjustment there.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But then we did start going, then once he got a little, we could have sitters and,
Mhm.
people watch him. Then we try to it still was a lot more few and far between, but we would start getting back out to parties and things.
Yeah.
But we did lose track of that couple, so we haven't, they
No.
sort of drifted off.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and so after the pregnancy and everything, you guys have been in it more consistently and continuing to grow in it, or has the play
Yeah.
style and everything stayed fairly similar?
No, we've evolved in the mid 2000s. Do you want to say?
You go ahead.
In the mid 2000s, we met a couple at a play party. It had been one we went to all the time, but we met this couple, and we really hit it off with them. And we started playing, just with them too, like meeting up other times. But it turned out they were very much into like being.
Polly is. Oh,
Well, yeah,
Both.
like both actually. They really were both. They were very much into like having relationships, like being. They wanted to be exclusive with us or like that, and also they were very much into BDSM.
So they introduced us to that, which
Yeah, so
opened up new new avenues.
Yeah, totally new avenues. Because that's when we joined FetLife, which is a website for kink and BDSM.
Yeah.
Right.
And we really branched out for a while into that. Like, in fact, now, if you think about it now, the majority of our friends that in the lifestyle are people we've probably met from that side.
From the kink side or from the BDSM side.
Yeah.
And it's funny, the two don't tend to coincide, the kink and the swinging, which is really disappointing because we're more swingers than into, the BDSM. So,
right.
But we
tried.
created some really good bonds. We have a lot of friendships that we've, created.
Yep.
And,
Yeah, we're sort of the odd couple out. Like, we'll go to a BDSM party and we'll watch. We'll watch. I like flogging, so I do a lot of flogging and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But the funny thing is, we'll be the couple off having sex at the kink parties.
Yeah.
It's like they're here again.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So when you were with that other couple that was primarily looking for longer relationships, did you guys go down that path of having a sort of monogamous, non-monogamous relationship with them?
Did for a little while. It started getting a little weird for me.
Yeah, and for me too.
After we'd have like a sexual interlude, we'd all snuggle on the bed and stuff, which was good. But then I started getting jealous, of the interaction between my husband and her, because she was definitely polyamorous, and that jealousy just came out of nowhere, and I just, so we talked about it, on our own, and had to explain it to them that it was just something we didn't expect to happen, but it did. So.
Right.
And it really wasn't anything I had been totally interested in. I mean, because the whole idea for me of playing is to be playing with new people and new experiences.
Right.
Yeah.
And they really, really wanted to make it exclusive, like just the four of us together. And that's sort of the opposite of what my intentions of the whole lifestyle sort of is.
Right.
So
we the whole point was to have variety and just add a little spice.
I mean, we do like being friends with people. In fact, a lot of the people we play with, we become friends with.
Right.
And I would say we're really good friends. Like a number of the people we play with, like we know their kids. We've done vanilla things with them. We've gone out to things in town and gone to plays or stuff.
The
or
Pride
done things.
Parade.
Right. We just went to the Pride Parade and, our kids are there and stuff. So there's a lot of people we know that we play with that we know in other ways too. Right. But there's still a line where we don't date them. It's not like, and especially it's definitely not an exclusive thing.
But we do have about 4 long-term relationships with people that, we meet often and they're part of our life. So, we meet up every once in a while.
Right.
We have a college friend that her and her husband, we introduced them to the lifestyle.
Right. Because we've
our
known them
kids
since
grew up
college.
together.
Yeah, exactly. And we didn't play with them back, but they learned of our playing.
Yeah.
And then so eventually
they're more advanced than we are.
Oh yeah, now oh my God, they've taken off. We still have lately they're the ones that are out every weekend doing something.
Yeah.
And,
so you're talking about you converted or introduced a couple, I would say. How did that go? Do you mind diving into that just a little bit?
We tend to do that a lot.
Yeah, we've done that a few
people.
times. Yeah.
We'll be friends with people and we'll be like, oh, they're really, should we tell them what we do? And
right.
So we risk our relationships, but it always turns out for the best. And,
not always. One couple. Yeah, there was this couple that we were great. I do photography on the side just for fun. And I do model photography. I ran a model group for a while. And so we shoot a lot of nudes and a lot of things. So there was this couple that were friends of ours. And the lady asked to pose if I could do a shoot with her. Mm-hmm. And so...
and they already knew,
Yeah, they knew we were swingers.
Right.
And... So we did this. It was so funny. I'll never forget it. We did this photo shoot of her, and she was naked. But I want to be professional. I'm doing a photo shoot.
I'm getting super turned on.
Right.
She's beautiful, but I'm being professional.
Right.
We're
not
helping,
doing anything. We're doing a photo shoot.
Touching.
Yep. So then afterward, she was just in the bathroom, and we're hanging out on our couch, and we're like, "Oh, the photo shoot went great. I think the pictures will be great." And then all of a sudden, she asked, well, I have a question. She goes, "What's wrong with us?" And we're like, what do you mean? And she's like, well, you guys haven't, we know you're swingers and you haven't tried to make any moves on us.
Yeah,
You
like here I am naked and you haven't, tried. And we're like, well, we're doing a photo shoot.
Right, we didn't know.
We didn't know.
And
So
yeah,
then
we're being professional.
Yeah, we're respectful professionals.
Right. And I was like, of course we think you guys look great. And we'd love to. So then we ended up in bed.
And we ended up playing a bunch of times with them. But they're the ones that I think sort of went negative because she ended up, I don't think she was very comfortable.
She's not comfortable with her body. She started out my size, but at this point she was
really thin.
Very thin.
She had lost a ton of weight.
But still viewed herself as a larger woman. So
yes,
she wasn't comfortable in her own body.
Right. And so she ended up not being comfortable with playing. And so we went back to just being friends with them, not playing anymore. And then it just sort of, we drifted apart.
Right.
And
yeah, sometimes that happens.
Yeah.
Have you, I guess the topic of, body image and being comfortable in your skin is one that I think a lot of people, when they're thinking about getting into this, that's something that comes straight to the forefront is, I could never be naked in front of people. I could never do that. Have you, either of you, had to deal with those issues and how have you dealt with that?
I guess, I have a lot. I tend to seek couples that are on the plus size, I guess. So that way I feel more comfortable. But we don't hide who we are. So if people are seeking us out, like on SLS, we put, pictures up of what we look like. So if they want to meet us, they want to meet us for us.
Yeah.
Right.
There's nothing hidden. So
have you found it? We've talked to a lot of people, especially when we were at Desire, who talk about, wandering around, being naked in front of a lot of people helps you all to just immediately become, or maybe not immediate, but become comfortable in who you are, because you see so many different types of people, big, small, everywhere in between, and you talk to everybody, and everybody seems to have the same concerns, and then you're like, well, why would you be concerned? And then why would you be concerned? And you're like, oh. And so I think after people start talking about it, they realize, well, I have nothing to worry about. There's going to be people here that find me sexy, and there's going to be people here who don't find me sexy, and that's true everywhere.
Yeah.
And, we're nudists, too, foremost. So I think that makes, even though I'm a larger woman, I'm comfortable in my skin more than other women would be, I guess.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, we have, separate from the swinging, we're nudists. Like, we go to nudist camps that, aren't swing camps. They're nudist camps. It's actually a very distinct, in fact, at the camps, they make it very clear that there's a big distinction between swinging and nudism. And so we definitely go to nudist camps. So we're
being able to be free in your skin in front of a lot of people that are different sizes, ages, in their life, you feel more confident, I think.
Yeah, we've been, I couldn't even tell you, I know it sounds funny because I'm not trying to be, I have no idea how many people have probably seen me naked. Just, with going to nudist camps and going to swinging events and all that. And being a photographer, like, I have no qualms. Like, there's definitely been pictures of me out there because I figure I can't expect to ask some model to let me post pictures of her naked up online if I am embarrassed to be naked on.
Right.
So we're very
open.
Right. In fact, we always joke with Cindy because if we go to a party, like being older,
we
some of these
to be the first people naked.
Yeah, because some of these parties, the thing starts so late, like. With kids and jobs and everything else, it's like I would love it like if the action started at like 7 or 8.
Yeah, we would too.
Yeah, we would too.
Yeah, and it's like half of the time things don't get going till like midnight, and we're ready to like go home and go to bed.
I'm done. Yeah.
So very often, like we will be, especially Cindy will be like one of the, like we'll be at someone's house party and Cindy will be one of the first people naked.
That's time to get this party started.
Yeah. And if nothing's happening, I'll be like, hey, come on. The two of us will go off somewhere.
Yeah, we were at one the other day up in Portland. And it was fun, but it was like, you could tell it was like a new, like the people throwing it was one of the first
their first
times.
party. Yeah.
And it was a fun party, but it was almost more just a party.
Like a getting to know you.
Yeah.
party?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, people are nervous, and you can't blame them, right?
So we ended up just playing
There
ourselves.
were a couple other couples that way too.
Yeah,
so
that
it was
ended up
more a
just playing.
voyeur type party.
Right.
Yeah. That's really cool. I think the fact that you are nudist too, it definitely helps with the body confidence. At least when I'm naked, we at a couple resorts and things, it helps so much with that confidence and seeing other people being naked. Just doesn't matter what you look like. Everyone's a human being. And I wanted to ask though, you said you have like nudists separately from swinging. Did you guys, since you started swinging early, did you guys have you been going to nudist places similar amount of time, I should say?
We didn't go to our first nudist. When we graduated from college, my parents paid for a trip out west for us. So we went for a 2-week trip out to Las Vegas and California. Just basically, we rented a little minivan that
camped out all the way.
All the way. And so when we were coming back across like the Arizona desert, we happened to learn that there was a nudist camp. And we had always been interested in it, but we had honestly never gone to anything nudist related. And so we had already been swinging,
right?
But this was just a nudist camp. But we had heard about it. And we were camping anyways,
right?
So we were like, "Hey, let's
try it.
Stay at a nudist camp one night." So and I'll never forget. It was the weirdest thing because we actually pulled into it really late at night. So most people were like all asleep. We were traveling, so we came into the camp like at 10 or something at night. So it's dark. We set up camp, and we just went to bed. And then the next morning, we wake up. And I'll never forget, I hopped out of the minivan and I'm naked. And Cindy's like, all of a sudden we had this weird thought that what if we have the wrong camp? What if it isn't a nudist camp? And it would suck if I'm standing here naked. But then I looked over.
Some family Christian.
Yeah, exactly. It was like, oh yeah, can you imagine if it was like some Christian campground or something? But and so I'm standing there naked, and all of a sudden I look over, and there's like these 2 old guys, like in their 80s, walking by, and they're butt naked.
And I'm walking to the shower.
Yeah, walking. And I'm like, nope, I'm good. This is good.
Either that or we're all in the wrong place.
And so then when we got back, we learned about there's actually a nudist camp not far from us, and we started going to that one.
Cedar Waters.
Yeah, Cedar Waters. We started going to that one, but then we ended up not liking that one. It's not bad. There's one down in Connecticut that's really only, even though Connecticut's only 2 hours from our house. So then we went, our favorite now is Solaire, which is in Connecticut. So we go there and we take our son, we've taken, so because it's a family campground. I mean, really, you can't think of any family campground with a lake and a pool and tennis courts and basketball courts and tent sites. But just everybody's naked, really. Yeah. And that's why they actually are very strict about the fact they don't want to have any reputation. They are not
it's a
sexual place.
Campground.
It's a family campground. You're just naked.
Yeah.
Back to nature type of thing, Enjoy the environment, enjoy nature. There's lots of walking trails. It's just
canoeing, paddle boating.
Yeah.
There's yoga outdoors, naked yoga.
Right. It's basically just being outdoors in nature, completely natural.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's something we would definitely enjoy, but we can't afford the amount of sunscreen. It's just not in the budget for us.
Problem.
Yeah.
That is a problem. Yeah, you're constantly reapplying.
Yeah.
So one of the things you mentioned earlier was about around being out and having pictures online. Are you out to anybody about either the nudist or the swinging, or have you largely kept it undercover?
Well, definitely the nudism, everybody
knows. Yeah.
That's not a secret at all. I mean, even the fact of our neighbors, because in Maine, in the state of Maine, a woman can be topless anywhere a guy can be. Okay. So Cindy's topless out back of our house a lot and stuff, with neighbors.
I mean, if there's neighbors' kids, playing down back, in our yard, then I'll put a shirt on just because I don't know how the parents feel. But for the most part. Yeah.
So that, but for the swinging, back to the swinging point, I mean, it's not like we're.
I mean, close friends now.
Oh yeah. All even our vanilla friends really know.
Well, because you tried to convert them all.
That is true. That is true. Actually, we have even one group of couple that definitely has no interest ever in swinging. They've definitely expressed that. Even one night, we have a fire pit out back, and we're always hanging out, drinking, and hanging out with our friends, just regular, And one night she walked up the stairs and took her top off and was like, "Woo!" So
I got her to do that.
Yeah, we tend to get people to. But yeah, all our friends. I mean, I don't think it's hard for me to think of somebody really. I mean, I would say as a close friend, everybody knows.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like we go up to people and be like, hey, my name is John, this is Cindy, and we're swinging.
Yeah, we don't.
But people certainly, it's not something. Like if anybody asked me, like if somebody got a rumor or something was like, hey, are you guys swingers? I would be like, oh yeah. It's not something I hide.
Yeah.
Right.
How about with your families?
My sister knows.
Yeah, your sister knows.
And I would say my brother knows.
Yeah, your brother knows.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm an only child, so I have no siblings to know.
I mean, I came out, to my family that I was bisexual in high school, so there's that. And they all put two and two together that our high school friend was my first, and she's been in our life since. So.
Yeah, we're still friends. The girl we told you about that was high school, she's married now and has a kid, or a couple kids, and we're still great friends with them. We actually still play with them.
Yeah.
You know.
That's awesome. You've had that long-term friendship with her.
We're really comfortable with them. So.
Yes, very comfortable.
Same with our college friends.
Right. And, lots of people know. In fact, even now at work, it's funny you said that. At work, my current boss does not know, I don't think. But I know my past boss before him definitely knew, because he used to live vicariously through me. Like we would go out and go to have a beer at a bar sometime, and he'd always be peppering me with questions because he was.
So what party have you been to?
Yeah, because he sort of lived vicariously. Yeah, he lived vicariously through me, so he'd always be so. Yeah.
Right.
Also, we both, which probably wasn't the best idea in the world, but speaking of mistakes that you learn from, we both had relationships with people at our respective works at one time.
Okay.
And those didn't really go too well.
As a couple.
Yeah,
like
as a
swinging
couple.
relationships, yeah.
Yeah. At Cindy's work, there was a girl that she actually, you with the girl at your work, you fooled around. You started playing with separately too.
Right. He liked me to go out with her and,
tell me stories.
We'd flirt and come back and I'd say what happened.
Right. Or play. You go play. Yeah. But then we played. But then that didn't really.
It was, it's hard one of those things. Yeah.
It's hard if they fizzle out. Then you still have to work with the person.
Right.
Yeah.
And the same happened at my work. There was a girl that was interested in me, and we had gotten flirting and talking. And then she learned about the fact that we were open. So she was single at the time, and so she ended up playing with us. But then it didn't really go too well.
No.
She was looking for more. She wanted she was looking for a relationship. Yeah.
Which we don't do that.
No. And so then we ended it. And then, of course, it gets a little weird because you're still working with the person.
But we're friends with her again now.
Oh, yeah. So. The funny thing is she ended up leaving my work. And then we reconnected. And I mean, we don't play anymore, but actually we've become friends again. Like we see her out in places and stuff.
Right. I think that says a lot about the two of you and how you manage the relationships. If you can end something like that and then circle back in a year or two or 5 months and still be friends with people, I think that says a lot for your communication and your ability to manage and navate the relationships.
Yeah.
We're
respectful.
We're very, I like to think of us as we're sort of very laid back.
Yeah.
So I mean, like even people that have I don't know,
made bad decisions or
pissed you off or you pissed them off, something happened,
life happens.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't hold things against each other.
So it's like, hey, if
you live, you learn.
Right, exactly.
And you can't dwell on the past.
No.
Just move forward.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think that's an amazing attitude to have.
Yeah.
And we have our friends that we, and we like our friends. We want to be with our friends and we respect them and want to share time with people. So even if stuff has happened in the past that may have made you mad at them or them mad at you or like that, you know, you get over it and you just move on, and then
if
hopefully you can reconnect.
If there tends to be too much drama with, you know, some of our friends, we'll take a step back for a while because we're not into all that drama.
Yeah, no, that's the big thing I will say is, in fact, actually that circles us back to the BDSM. We've actually drifted away now. We've definitely, this last, say, couple of years, really gone back more into the swinging side of the world and really not left, but really made it a minor part of our lives, being the BDSM. And one fact of that, and I don't know why, and I can't explain totally why, but there seems to be a lot more drama with the BDSM side of the world. And maybe it's just our experience, and not with us per se, but just in people in general, there is a lot of, like, I don't know, infighting.
Couples that don't manage their playtime.
Right. And so people fighting, and then we always get caught in the middle because, like, we'll have one couple that's friends of ours and another couple that's friends, and then they end up fighting because somebody did something wrong at a party or said the wrong thing. Because you run into all these issues of dominant and submissive and masters and slaves, and there's all these protocols and etiquette that it gets very complicated.
Yeah.
And whenever anything gets complicated, people tend to do something wrong. And then people get pissed off.
They get judged harshly.
And it gets very, just drama.
Yeah.
And we were sort of getting tired of it. Yeah. So we've drifted back into more of the just swinging world. Like we went a couple weekends ago, we went to a meet and greet that was just swingers. And it's so funny.
Went out dancing all night. And,
just making out.
Flirting and making out with multiple people. And yeah, it was fun.
And I think one thing, too, is with the BDS, and I'm not saying this in a bad way, but because you're dealing with something different, because you're dealing with where you can really hurt somebody, you know, never mind floggers, but there's a lot of rope, there's needles, there's all kinds of instruments where you're really doing things that can seriously hurt somebody.
Not just physically, but mentally.
Right.
I don't know. That's just not us.
Right. And
seeing it, as an observer, it's just like,
we're like, we want to just go
fine
back to
for them, but
right. We want to just go back to having fun.
Yeah.
And so we've drifted back into that.
We're more about pleasure, not pain.
Exactly.
Right.
Well, it's really cool that you guys tried it out. You met a bunch of people through there. You learned about it, learned a lot about it, it sounds like, and everything's out there. And
I would imagine that there was a good handful, or probably way more than a handful, otherwise the community wouldn't exist, of people who were navigating it successfully and respectfully and not creating the drama. And like any community, there's going to be drama, and I would imagine that it weeds itself out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I think making the decision that it's not for you is that's really cool that you tried it. You're like, okay, this is good for now, but let's revisit and say, no, let's go back to just swinging because that's what we enjoyed more.
Right.
Yeah.
One question we always ask is, since you've opened up your relationship, what are some of the benefits you've seen? But since it sounds like your relationship was never closed, I guess maybe to rephrase that a little, what are some of the things that you feel that you have benefited over the last 23, 24 years of being together and being open versus maybe you think would be different if you hadn't opened it?
Definitely communication. Like, we can pretty much talk. Like, I mean, when we see somebody down the street, whether it be a guy or girl, we can be like, hey, isn't she hot? Or, hey, isn't he hot? And so it just opens it up. Like we see vanilla couples, and they're so, like, not always, but they're very,
insecure.
Right. Always watching what they're saying around their spouse. Like, they don't want to upset their spouse. They don't want to say something wrong. Right. And we don't really have that.
No,
we're very
can
open.
Talk, and if I feel uncomfortable or he does, we feel open enough to say it.
Right.
We don't have to hide it and tiptoe around.
Right.
And
I think our relationship's really strong because of that. We're like, it feels like you're almost on a different level than a lot of other couples you see, because it's almost like the other couples are very individual. Like they're a couple, but the two people like have secrets, or like even silly, stupid things, but they have things apart from their spouse, and they're not really together. But for us, there's nothing really secretive. There's nothing separate. I mean, we do our own things. Like we both have our own hobbies or interests, but we don't. But as far as communication goes, it's like we're just open with each other a lot more.
Well, like we had tried playing separately.
Yeah.
And I was open. You know, he was playing with a girl separately and telling me about it, and I was honest. I said, you know, I don't think this is for me. I'm really jealous. And
right, but you
know, and I didn't feel bad telling him, and so we're like, okay.
Yep.
You know, and did it the other way. And
right, you had played with a couple
he
guys.
liked me playing with a couple of guys on my own and coming home and telling him about it. But I was like, you know, it's not for me because I felt like I was cheating, you know, and because he wasn't there. So
because I was definitely. I like that idea. I always got turned on when she went out.
Doesn't mean we won't try it again.
No, we could revisit. That's actually the other thing I think as far as learning. You know, one thing, especially with having the years that we've had under our belt, everything is like cyclical, and just because just because the answer of something is no now or doesn't fit us, and I don't mean just no, but say there's something that we don't like right now, it doesn't mean
we won't revisit it.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's pretty evident in your willingness to try just about anything and then give it a good try and then analyze it and say yes or no. And that's become evident just in the few minutes we've talked. So.
Yeah, no, I think that's an amazing attitude to have. And you guys allow yourselves to try something. And then if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But you don't hold it against each other that you tried it.
Right.
Right. No.
I know it's
okay. Yeah. So, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Okay.
No, I was just going to say it's so funny, like about that. You know, we always view it as in we want to. If either of us have an inkling for something, you know, it's like, hey, go ahead and try it. You know, the worst case is that it doesn't work out, and you're like,
someone says no.
Right, or someone says no. You know,
okay.
It's like, oh yeah, sure, okay, and then you know. You're like, well, I learned that I didn't like, or that didn't work, or that did work. And luckily, I think the majority for us, over time, the majority has worked. Yeah. And that's why it's so funny. Like, we'll be talking to somebody more vanilla either completely vanilla or new. And they'll be talking about like all these like bucket lists or things that they would love to do. And we're laughing because they'll be talking, about this or that. And we'll be whispering to ourselves. We'll be like, yeah, okay.
Do you remember back when
we had sex in public?
We did that.
They're like, I'd love to do this thing. And you're like, yeah, it's not that great.
Yeah, exactly. Like uncommon one. I've actually done. We've done a double penetration, and everybody seems to want to do double penetrations. You know, and there was this one girl we were with, and one couple, and the girl wanted into that.
Wanted to try that.
And so I did that with the guy and the girl, and you know, everybody was, but it's actually
difficult.
I've done it a couple times now, and it's not actually. It's cool just saying you did it, but it's really not the greatest.
There's some serious logistics you got to work out.
Yeah. Well, if you're the guy on the top, like one thing is your thighs end up like burning massively because you're in like permanent squat. And
you need like a trapeze bar hanging from the ceiling.
Exactly. So,
Not that I've ever participated. I'm speculating.
No. You know, or like, and we've had lots of, there's like so many funny things.
Well, that's a perfect segue because I was going to ask, and this is one of our new favorite things to ask people, and for multiple reasons. One, because it's funny, but two, it helps people who are getting into this realize that they're going to come across things that are awkward and hilarious, and that you are not immune, no matter how good you think you are.
Yeah, you're going to make mistakes, and you're going to have to work through them.
So what is one or two of your favorite bloopers from over the years that have gone wrong or been really funny that you always think about when you...
Can I answer that one?
Yeah, you want to answer. Black dress girl?
No,
which one?
I don't know if she was in a black dress. We were at one swing party where we were with a younger couple, and they were totally blitzed. Drunk. And the girl and I got in a 69. I was on the bottom, and I have very large bosoms. So she maneuvered herself and kept pushing back, and I was essentially getting suffocated by my own breasts while her husband was taking her from behind. And I essentially was trying to tap out, and I had to call my husband over to come and get her off me because I couldn't breathe.
Yeah.
It would have been a great way to die because she was beautiful and I was having a great time. So, but that was definitely
hell of an obituary.
I was over because it was like an open room. So I was actually over on another couch having sex with a totally different person. And all of a sudden I hear Cindy yelling, John, I can't breathe. And I look over and she's at the bottom of this pile. You know, there's a girl on top of her in a 69, and the girl's boyfriend is basically on top of Cindy because he's having sex with this girl. And Cindy's arms just like flailing out from the pile of bodies. Like,
I mean, I'm sure it was sexy to watch, you know.
So I had to excuse myself from the woman I was with on the couch and come over, and like I had to literally lift the girl off of Cindy.
Yeah,
be like,
she had no idea.
Off, you got to get off. My wife is suffocating to
And
death.
just did like a little bit of CPR and she was good to go.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So, wow. That
was definitely a funny.
That's hilarious.
Oh, that was the one I was going to
Oh, that was the one you were going to talk about?
Yeah, that was the one I was.
Yeah.
That was fun. I'm sure, I know there were others, but.
Yeah, I would imagine in 26 years, you've come across your share. I know we have.
Yeah.
The best part about them is when you're out with your, vanilla friends or people who don't know, and something comes up and you're like, oh yeah, this one time, no, never mind. And you have to like retreat to your corner and.
Can't tell that story.
Yeah, we do have some of those stories, but we won't share those.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing for the other couple.
Right. But yeah, we definitely have stories. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they, right, if you're out with other people and you're like, oh wait, no, I can't say that.
Yeah. True.
Of course, most of our friends are more, so there isn't a lot of people we'll be out with that we couldn't say things to.
Yeah.
Laugh about it and share stories. So.
Yeah.
The stories are the best part. I mean, people are amazing and funny stuff happens. I mean, sex is awkward with two people, let alone with more than two people. So.
Yeah.
Well, the last question we like to ask people is if you have any pieces of advice, like final piece of advice you'd give to somebody who's looking to get into swinging or non-monogamous relationships, and also if you have any resources that you'd want to share.
Advice, I would say, start slow and communicate. That's the big one, and keep checking in with each other.
Yeah.
We had, our long-term friends from college, they were, experimenting with playing separately. And I was concerned about the male counterpart, about him getting jealous, and honestly he was in the right place, but I kept checking with the wife and was like, just check in with him, make sure he's okay, and they were fine though. But
yeah, communication's
that's the big one.
Definitely, talk to each other.
Don't just go along with stuff just because you want to please your partner,
Yeah.
Right, and don't ever think that your partner's either a mind reader or that
they're not.
Right, or trying to read their mind like you think because there's been many times, I remember way back at the beginning, where I would think Cindy was wanting one thing, and I was totally wrong. Mm-hmm. And then the other is, like you said, go slow, because the thing is, you're always going to have more time. Like there's like around here, I know it sounds funny, we're in Maine and stuff, but there is always parties going on. There, you could go out pretty much every weekend if you want and go to a house party or a party. So just because you don't have to do everything you're at a party, there's going to be more time. So I think the slower you start off, the better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was something that I'm really happy you said that, because at the beginning of our journey, we were definitely the type of people that felt like, this is our only chance. Tonight's the only time it's going to happen, so we have to go for it. And you realize over time that these situations are not finite. You can create more of them, and you can create better ones. And so powering through a bad situation just because you're in it is not a recipe for success.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Any resources that you have found useful or stumbled across over the years, besides maybe you want to share the magazine that you looked people up in?
I don't think that's even around.
Or your AOL screen name?
Yeah, no, that's not around either. I mean, it may still be around, but we don't. How do we? I mean, we're on the different sites. Like I know a lot of people like Cassidy, and we are on there. But the main one we use is SLS, which is Swing Lifestyle.
Yep.
There just seems to be a lot of people in New England on that one, so it seems to be a better range,
And Pet Life, that's a different type of community, but
right. But we do
there are
find
some
a lot
swingers
of people.
on there. There's different groups you can go to and go by state. So you can find different groups.
And one thing, right? Pet Life isn't really like a hookup site. Pet Life is a BDSM site, but groups exactly.
You can become part of a community, though. There's a lot of, they call them munches.
Okay.
In different areas that we'll go to in Manchester, Concord, Rochester, or Portsmouth, where like-minded people will go. They'll go to a pub, they'll hang out, they'll talk, and create bonds. And
in fact, that would be
somewhere.
One of my biggest suggestions for people is find, in the swinging world, they're generally called meet and greets, and in the kink world, they're called munches.
Right.
But they're really the same essential thing. They're gatherings in public places, at a public bar or a restaurant where nothing's going on. It's a public place. There's nothing, but it's where you can meet people, you hang out.
Foster relationships.
Right.
Yeah.
So I would say definitely, especially for newbies, that's the best place to meet people, because also there's no pressure, because there's nothing going on. It's not like a party there. You're not going to be having sex there. You're not going to be getting naked there. Right. You're literally just there, have some drinks.
Like your old-fashioned mixer.
Right. Yeah. Have an appetizer, and you can bounce around. And what's also cool with them is people expect this. You can bounce around and talk to multiple people throughout the night. You don't have to be sitting there talking to one person all night. So you round and meet people. You can exchange numbers, kick names, whatever. And then maybe you form a relationship, and then you decide, let's go out for dinner with this couple. We really like them, or let's go out. Right. But you don't have to do that. Yep. And so I think the meet and greets and the munches are like the best thing to find. Yeah. And honestly, I'm sure they're everywhere. I know there's a ton of them just in our area, and we're up in New England. So I'm sure people that are especially like more urban areas, probably there's a ton of them.
Right.
Yeah, we love that advice, I think.
Yeah, that's a really good point to make.
The fact that you can go to a no pressure situation with your partner and talk to people, I don't know of a better way. If one of the two of you or both of you are really concerned about safety and all the different things that come up, to go and meet people and realize that they're just regular people hanging out at a bar. Yeah. And they're just like you. Everyone's nervous. There's no better way to get rid of those nerves and butterflies.
Then going to just talk to people.
Yeah. So, well, thank you for that, and thank you for everything you shared tonight. It's been super fun hearing from a couple who got started earlier than us, which a little bit competitive. Makes me think that we've got some work to do. I guess we can't get any younger.
No, we can't get any younger. We can just have more experiences.
Exactly. Yeah.
Is there any last tips or anything any other things you wanted to share?
No, I think just remember, I think one thing people sometimes forget, it's for fun. Yep. The whole point of it is to have fun and have good fun experiences. Right. If you're not having fun, then something's wrong. Right. The whole point is to have fun. And I think if you keep that in mind, then you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
That's a really good point too.
That's a perfect way to wrap it up, and we appreciate it.
Yeah. And thank you so much for joining us and reaching out, and we had a blast talking to you too.
And
thank you.
We will keep in touch. Next time we're in Maine, we can have a meet and greet.
Yeah.
So that would be great.
All right. Well, have a wonderful evening, and we will chat soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
We back?
Yeah, we're back again.
And thanks to John and Cindy for the super fun conversation. Forever in Maine, I think we're definitely going to go hang out with them.
Yeah, for sure.
So, real quick, nothing much to say here other than we got a super fun interview, like always, next week with a young couple out in the East Coast area. So we talked.
It's pretty vague, but there's a lot of.
Well, I don't want to give away all of the secrets, otherwise people won't have to listen. So come back in a week, and we will see everybody then.
Yeah. Bye, everyone.